Good morning. We're on the record.
Good morning.
In case D 523582, is it Capucine Holmes?
Capucine.
Holmes versus Wilbert Holmes. Your appearances, please.
Marcia Kimball Sims, 8530 Nevada Bar.
Hi, Your Honor. Good morning. Rachel Jacobson, bar number 7827. On behalf of the defendant, Mr. Holmes, who is present, it's my understanding that Mrs. Holmes is in the courtroom, so I'm not sure why
She's in the West Room.
not present.
Oh, she's in the restroom?
Okay.
Yes, I had informed the bailiff.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So,
all right. This was a complaint that was filed in November 2015,
Yes.
and this is your case management conference to see if the court can help you move the case to a conclusion.
Here she comes. Can we wait for her to get in, please? Thank you.
Yes. So it's my understanding there are no minor children,
Yes.
that we have issues of financial only.
Yes, and there is a anti-nuptial agreement. There is a prenup.
A prenup, okay.
Yes. That that divides the property between the parties. I filed it on Wisnet.
Do you see it? What did you call it?
I attached it, if you hold on, Your Honor, I attached it to one of her answers, or I think I just filed it. Your clerk, I called, and he said that you had gotten a copy of it. You don't? I have an extra copy if Your Honor needs one.
Well, if it divides their property.
It's the house and the furnishings and everything.
Okay, so what would be the issues then?
The issue, as I see it, is the home, and it says that 2 years after the marriage, she is to get the increase in equity, 50% of the increase in equity. Opposing counsel and I have gone back and forth. Her position is that there's no equity, she doesn't get anything. My position is that there is. We may have to ask for a court-appointed appraiser to determine the value. He has the home listed for sale with an agent. The price has been lowered. My client and I have reviewed some comps, but since counsel and I couldn't come to an agreement, I believe we need an appraiser.
What's the general price range? $6.99.
He has it listed as $6.99. Based upon, can you?
Well, the reason I ask is because if it's a higher-end home, you want a more sophisticated.
It's a higher-end home.
Okay, so
almost 5,000 square feet.
Okay, all right.
Almost an acre of land.
Okay, then my recommendation would be Scott Dugan and Associates.
Your Honor, that's the person I proposed to opposing counsel.
No, she did not. Let's not even lie about it. She never even did that.
Well, Scott Dugan handles the higher-end homes.
I'm willing to that, but my client has no funds. She doesn't have a job. He's in the superior position financially. So he would have to pay for it.
Your Honor, may I respond to that? Basically, we would request for employment search log because the parties have been split for approximately a year. Mr. Holmes is 69 years old. He's retired. He's disabled. Mrs. Holmes is 47 years old. She hasn't contributed at all since the separation or before, and we request her assistance. She's blocked Mr. Holmes every step of the way, which is why I'm going to also present a request to amend the counterclaim to include several claims, Your Honor, but I'll get there in a second. Basically, she's blocked Mr. Holmes from getting legal aid representation. She's blocked Mr. Holmes from getting rental from the home, and she's blocked Mr. Holmes from getting senior citizen assistance. There's also a battery charge pending against her, Your Honor, so there's a lot of issues, and she's really made Mr. Holmes' life very difficult. What we request at this time only is if her request is that Mr. Holmes bear the whole expense for Scott Dugan, which is going to be approximately $2,000, I did speak to him about the assessment. It's a little different, and I'll present why. If that's her request for financial relief, she should show to us, to the court, what she's been doing the past year, why she's not in a position to contribute that, Your Honor. And before she requests financial assistance, we request that she present or be ordered to provide a job search log, Your Honor. And Ms. Sims referred to the parties' prenuptial agreement. The agreement states, if it is valid, it states that everything is basically separate. When the parties married, Mr. Holmes had already retired, and he took out his separate funds to put in the home. The prenuptial agreement, in fact, specifically contemplates this home and states this home shall be separate. All Mrs. Holmes would be entitled to is the increase in equity, and this is where I think there's a misunderstanding. There's an increase in equity from July of 2001 to today's date. Well, the parties have been separated since a year. We present that that date should be last year, but whatever. So there is, if there's an increase in equity, then Mrs. Holmes is entitled to 50% of it. Everything else is separate. Of his goodwill and in an effort to settle, he allowed, the parties already separated the property from the home, but I do have to make a correction that my letter incorrectly included a vintage sewing machine. That machine actually belongs to Mr. Holmes' mother, and we retract that property, Your Honor. But everything else that is in our letter, Mr. Holmes is willing to separate and request that Mrs. Holmes remove that within a week from the home. Anyway, Your Honor.
Who's in the home?
He lives in the home, but I'm going to object.
Is she in the home?
No, she left the home. I'm going to object to everything that she has says. There's only one true allegation, and that is the 50% in reference to the home. She has not blocked him from renting out the home. We subpoenaed the information, and it came back that the house had been rented out so many times that it would be too much of a burden for them to present us with the paperwork. He lied on his financial affidavit. My client has informed me they have a bank accounts at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, that he has an Ameritrade, she has an Ameritrade. If you look at the financials, you will see that he cannot, based upon the amount of money he has to put out each month, he can't afford that house. It should be in foreclosure. So the financials indicate that he's hiding money. She never blocked him from renting the house. He has total control over that issue. The second issue in reference to the domestic violence issue, that has been settled. She's paid her money. They've had a contentious relationship. We have pictures showing where he has injured her. He has stalked her. He has sent her, he even sent me harassing emails. The biggest issue, she can amend her complaint. He had my client sign a prenup. He had my client sign a trust. He has all the financials. He basically lied. I did send her a letter asking her to amend the financials because I know they did not want to perpetrate fraud upon the court. She never got back to me on that issue. Never got back to me. The only thing, every time I asked her to amend it, he would send her harassing emails, and we have copies of those emails. He even sent my client an email of him having sex with someone. We got a temporary restraining order. The judge didn't make it permanent. We have video of him. He's not disabled. We have video of him going to an event at Anthem Country Club, trying to attack my client, and there are people that stopped him. The police asked him to leave. We have a police report indicating that. He's also sent letters. He's the person that's harassing. He sent letters to a nonprofit organization that she's involved with, threatening to sue them for $10,000. Now it's up to $15,000. He is in a financially superior position, and I request that provide the Ameritrade account, provide the Bank of America account. My client indicated that the home had been refinanced twice. He's pulled out $150,000, and I think he pulled out, how much else did he pull out?
I'm not certain on the actual amount.
And if he's so destitute, he's taken exotic vacations and gone for 3 months, and sent my client pictures, also sent her emails indicating that he has money hidden under rocks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
nobody
It's
has filed
contentious.
in motion to set aside the prenup,
Yes,
so it's presumed valid under law unless someone attacks it.
thank you.
So that's going to govern the division, and if it has any holes in it or there's anything that it doesn't cover, then you can address that. Discovery is open.
Okay.
So conduct your financial discovery.
Thank you.
Exchange your documents pursuant to 16.2 voluntarily to keep the costs down. Scott Dugan, if your client is requesting an appraisal, Scott Dugan can do it.
Okay.
Who's requesting it?
She can't afford an appraisal. She doesn't have any money
If
at all.
he bears the cost of that, whatever the cost is, you'll send her the invoice. In the end, they're going to bear it 50-50 in the end. But if he wants to front the cost for that to get it done, so there's no question as to what the value is, then it will be offset against something else.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would like to object to the allegations made and point out again, there's been no response to our major position, which is there's been no effort to obtain employment, and that's what we request. She's requesting that he bear the cost for Scott Dugan, yet she hasn't responded to our point about job search.
I understand your point, and I don't know how she's supporting herself.
She lives with someone. She left with the clothes on her back after the spousal incident. There was a stay away. Now, I understand that they did reconcile a couple of times, but basically, she left with the clothes.
But this is a case management conference. This isn't a motion hearing.
Okay.
So
Okay, Your Honor.
obviously,
Basically, she's.
Let me stop you.
Okay.
Let me stop you. We don't need to go there because unless there's a request, which there isn't right now, for spousal support, it wouldn't be relevant.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
There's a point that she can't afford the $1,000 or whatever that is to afford the appraisal, but to me, it's a property decision that we have to get to the bottom of the value.
Yes.
If he's in the home and he's keeping it or he's selling it or whatever he's doing, if he's in control of that asset, that's why I'm putting the initial burden on him to pay for the appraisal. But it will all come out in the wash because she's going to bear half the cost. It's just
Okay.
going to be offset against something.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I do have the court's permission then to amend our counterclaim. I would like to include the claims for battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, waste, and financial support.
We're going to object to that because she's never had access to any of the couple's funds. And she's never had access to the business. The business is in his name, even though they created it together. He controlled the finances, so what did she waste? It would be zero.
Well, you can always make a claim for alimony. That doesn't have to be specifically pled, according to case law. If you want to bring a claim for, you said emotional distress?
Correct, Your Honor, and battery,
All right.
as well as waste, Your Honor.
Battery, if it's associated with battery, that is an appropriate request.
Now,
The Interspousal Tort Immunity Act, that's been interesting lately, applies, of course, in automobile cases, but as far as battery, you are permitted to plead a tort claim against your spouse for battery. The emotional distress case is a little more thin.
Basically,
we
mainly
would
because he's a
counterplead
senior
the same
citizen.
thing. We would counterplead the
You
same
can
thing.
both amend your pleadings in the next 30 days, whatever you need to
We would
do.
counterplead the same thing, and we have proof
Your
to
Honor, I know we've been belaboring this, but I just want to narrow it down again, Your Honor. So from plaintiff's perspective, and the sole issue we are focusing on, since the property has been divided, is my understanding, the sole issue we're focusing on is the increase in the equity in the home. Is that correct? I just want to,
It's per the
I want to
prenuptial.
tailor my discovery.
Well, I don't have the benefit of having read your prenup, but I'm assuming you're telling me that that's the main issue of the prenup.
I'm asking.
besides a separate property, because the issue with what's in the house, her mother and her went to a consignment shop and purchased the furniture. He wants half the value of it.
Okay, well,
And the
amend
prenup
your
says it's a
pleadings if you
separate
need
property.
to. I would love to see the prenup attached to someone's pleadings.
It was in, I talked to your clerk and he said that it,
I have a mail clerk.
I didn't say a mail clerk. I just
You
said I
said
talked.
he said.
I'm sorry. It is in the pleadings. It's in the e-files because I called and they told me that it was there. I could pull it up for you. I'll give you another copy. It's in the pleadings.
Did you find it in the pleadings?
Forgot about the apartment.
And Your
Where
Honor,
did you find it? Reply to counterclaim?
You can stand there.
Just a minute. And I asked if all the pages, if you received all the pages, and he said yes.
I don't have a male clerk.
I'm sorry, it's just
It keeps saying he.
It's a reference to saying she. I guess I should say that person, the person. I'm sorry, I'm just used to saying he, which is
Like if you
sexist.
talk to a male clerk, I don't have a
I
male
don't talk
clerk.
to a male clerk. I'm sorry, it's just the same. It's
Your Honor, can we get a status check on Mr. Dugan's report? Maybe we can resolve the case at that time, if that's the only issue.
Well, I don't know. You want to amend an alleged battery and some tort claims, and I don't know what the prenup precludes. Does it preclude support?
yes, it does.
All right. It looks like Ms. Kimball Sims that it was attached to the reply that was filed December 23rd. But for whatever reason, they didn't attach it when they gave it to me. And when you printed it, all the pages didn't print.
You need a copy or?
It's there.
Okay.
I just didn't see it. They didn't give it to me.
Your Honor, we would also like to amend our complaint to allege fraud. Mr. Holmes is technically defrauding the government. He lives at a senior citizen complex, and basically he lied on his affidavit to them so that they would allow him to live in the complex. He did not list the home or the other assets that he has, his bank accounts or anything like that. He tried to get my client to sign off on the form, and she refused to.
So it would be a fraud perpetrated against her that you would be pleading.
Well, that too, in reference to him hiding financial assets.
Well, do your discovery.
It's the IED.
What I understand that you want to allege a tort claim, and you want to allege a tort claim.
Just to counter it, because it's nonsense. We have evidence indicating
That's the only
it's
thing that you're amending.
waste of time, really.
We would also include a waste claim, Your Honor.
We would include one as well, because he took out 2 mortgages on the home knowing that she was
Okay,
entitled
that's
to.
the only thing that's allowed to be amended. Tort claim and community waste.
Thank you.
You can amend. Excuse me.
I would suggest that it would be a half-day trial, Your Honor.
Right.
Calendar call will be September 27th, 11 a.m. Your trial date will be October 11th, 1:30. Stack number 2.
Are there any questions, counsel? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jacobson, will you prepare the order from today?
I will, Your Honor.
Thank you.